2023 was the year of AI. What can we expect for social media in 2024? I just got back from one of the largest events for social media, and I can't wait to share what some of my biggest takeaways were with you. Welcome to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I'm Katie Brinkley, and you're listening to the premier podcast for business owners ready to elevate their influence and impact in the industry. Have you ever wondered how digital marketing can revolutionize your business? Well, with 2 decades of experience empowering business leaders, consultants, and coaches, I understand the transformative power of digital marketing. Today, we're not just discussing strategies, we're crafting your digital legacy. In each episode, we'll dissect the trends, strategies, and insights that are shaping the future of marketing. You'll walk away with actionable knowledge to thrust your business forward and stories of local enterprises making a global impact. Are you ready to turn insights into action? Let's jump into today's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing and start shaping your legacy. I just got back from Social Media Marketing World in beautiful, sunny San Diego. And as you can kind of tell, I did come back with a little bit of a cold, so bear with me if I sound a little congested in this week's episode. But I want to share with you some of the biggest takeaways that I learned from one of the biggest events that happens every single year in San Diego. Now, Social Media Marketing World has been around for a while. This was my fourth Social Media Marketing World. So I attended in 2020. It was the very first year for me to go. And it was the year that the world shut down. I'll never forget. We were all at Social Media Marketing World in March of 2020. This was an event that I had wanted to go to since my days back at the TV station. So in a previous life, I was the marketing manager for the Colorado Rockies TV station. I did their scripts. I wrote a lot of scripts for them. I did some media buys for them, so like buying billboards and print. I was able to host a lot of our clients in the suites. And then I also did social media. And one of the things that I enjoyed most about my role at the station was doing social media. So I wanted to go to Social Media Marketing World, but my boss, I love her. She changed my life, but she didn't approve me to go. Fast forward to 2020, I'd had my business for about 3.5 years at this point, and it was still an event that I really wanted to go to. So I bought myself a ticket, jetted on out to San Diego, and my business was forever changed. Social media marketing world holds a very near and dear place in my heart. A lot of the speakers that I met at Social Media Marketing World back in 2020 have become friends. Some of the people I networked with at the event helped me find my first team member. They've collaborated with me. Social Media Marketing World changed my business, but it also elevated me with the things I've learned from social media. One of the most frustrating things with being a social media strategist and having a social media agency is a lot of people say, oh, social media, well, my 14-year-old niece has like 10,000 TikTok followers. She can just help me with my social media. And it's so frustrating. But social media is such an important part of your business and your brand. And you have to have the right strategy that goes along with it. There's about 2,500 other social media junkies that want to just talk social media, produce social media, and do all things social media to the best of their abilities. We all get together once a year in sunny San Diego and learn the best tactics and strategies. So some of the biggest takeaways for me this year was AI. Last year at Social Media Marketing World, AI was just kind of getting ramped up. There wasn't a ton, there was only one talk on AI last year. They fixed that this year. We learned AI for LinkedIn, AI to grow your teams, how to talk to AI. Drew Davis came and he gave an amazing closing keynote on day one about seasoning your ChatGPT. Because with ChatGPT, you can go into it and say, hey, help me write a script for X. And it'll just jump in and start writing a script for you. But really, is that the best script? Drew Davis says it's almost like this overly excited squirrel that just wants to help you and just does it as fast as it can, but really it's not giving you the best product. And so it's extremely important for you to talk to your GPT and slow it down so that you are getting quality content from a robot that's assisting you to the best of its abilities. The more you talk to your GPT, the more it's going to understand your tone, your style, what you're asking of it, and it's going to become a very valued member of your business's team. I had the opportunity to be the track MC on day 2 for the AI track. I got to hear so much on AI, and I'm so fortunate with it. I got to introduce past podcast guest, Judy Fox, and she talked all about using AI for LinkedIn. Incredible session. And Judy's, honestly, if you haven't listened to Judy's episode from Rocky Mountain Marketing, I'll include the link here in the show notes. Go listen to it. It was actually the top downloaded podcast of 2022. She talks all about LinkedIn newsletters in it. So be sure to go check out that podcast episode. It's a good one. I also had the opportunity to introduce Robert Rose. He is also one of the podcast co-hosts on This Old Marketing podcast with Joe Pulizzi. Great podcast. He shared so many great pieces of advice on how to grow your business and your content team strategically. That was the main theme for social media marketing world this year. AI and strategy. Speaking of Robert Rose, his co-host Joe Pulizzi took the stage and talked all about how to approach your content as a business, the importance of newsletters. Yes, folks, if you don't have an email newsletter, if you're not emailing your audience, you're missing out on one of the biggest opportunities out there. Having an email newsletter, whether you monetize it or not, is the most dependable way for you to forge a community with your audience. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, I have two actually. I have one on LinkedIn, which is called The Social Situation. And then I have one that I send out every Thursday to my audience. And if you haven't signed up for it yet, be sure to do so. We all want more newsletters in our inbox, right? But mine's really good. I promise you that. If you want to sign up for my newsletter, go to katiebrinkley.com/content calendar. Not only will you get the newsletter every week, but you will get 31 free content ideas for you to post for social media. But I bring up newsletters because you might say, well, Katie, you've talked about AI, you've talked about strategy, now you're talking newsletters. Weren't you in social media marketing world? And all of this comes down to part of social media. Social media, folks, is only one piece of the puzzle, and it's very limited real estate that we are vying to have a part of. If we're all trying to get a spot in that ever important scroll, it's hard to get into the feed without having that strategy in place. I talk about generating leads from social media a lot, and everything comes back to what is the messaging that you're putting out. If you're putting out messaging that isn't in alignment with the services that you offer, you're not going to find leads. You're not going to be able to see the benefits from social media that you could. And it all comes back to saying, this is what my goal is. This is what I want people to do. How can I achieve that goal with social media? It's only one piece of the puzzle. Having a newsletter, having a podcast, showing up on live video, all of that is a piece of the puzzle. I want you to focus in on the fact that I said newsletters, podcasts, live video, social media. I didn't say all the social medias. And that's one of the things that we all actually were talking about at this event was, well, what's the best platform for me to follow you on? As in singular. This is the differentiator, folks, where a few years ago, we were trying to show up on all the platforms and do all the things and post every day. Everyone's taking that step back. Well, majority of my audience is on Clubhouse. I think I had like 110,000 followers there. So that's fun having a bunch of followers on a dead app. But the next one is, I'll be honest, Instagram for me over the past year has been a struggle to generate the kind of engagement that I had in years past. but I'm seeing great results over on Facebook and LinkedIn. So for me, if people say, "Hey, what's the best platform for me to connect with you on?" Yeah, let's go ahead and connect on LinkedIn. Most people, if they are on multiple platforms, there is one content platform that's working best for them. And then they're using these other key pieces like podcasting and AI and live streaming, all of that to funnel in to build their community. Anne Hanley was the opening keynote on day two. And for those of you that are regular listeners of the podcast, you know what a huge fan I am of Anne Hanley. Her presentation was all about being a social media Barbie. And for those of you that have seen the Barbie movie, I have still not seen it. I need to watch it. It probably would have been a whole lot funnier for you, but she was still incredible. She was talking in there about how a lot of what we do is for social media isn't appreciated because a lot of people out there think, oh, well, my 14-year-old niece can do it. It's the taking that next step. It's the seasoning your GPT. It's having the strategy behind what your content purpose is. It's ensuring that you have a newsletter. I mean, folks, we're all at the mercy of the algorithm, but with email, you're guaranteed to show up in front of your audience. All these things are an important part of social media marketing. And I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to be a speaker and attend my fourth social media marketing world. I bought my ticket for next year while I was at the event because, man, if next year's anything like this year's was, I cannot wait to see what evolutions social media is going to be taking in the year 2025, because that's the joy of social media, right? It's always evolving, it's always changing, there's always new things coming out. And in next week's Quickcast, I'm actually going to be breaking down generative AI because, folks, that is coming to a social media platform near you. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. I hope you're leaving with valuable insights and the inspiration to lead your market. If you've enjoyed our time together and found today's podcast episode useful, I have a small favor to ask of you. Please hit that subscribe button to stay updated with the latest episodes. And if you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, maybe a fellow business leader or an aspiring entrepreneur, go ahead and share this episode with them. Let's spread the knowledge and grow together. Also, I'd love to hear from you and continue the conversation beyond the podcast. Visit me at katiebrinkley.com to connect, to find more resources, or just to share your journey. And be sure to pick up your copy of my new book, The Social Shift, at katiebrinkley.com/book. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Katie Brinkley, and I can't wait to dive into more strategies and stories with you on the next episode of Rocky Mountain Marketing. Let's keep on taking your marketing to new heights.